friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy Bish. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Central Victoria, Australia, and I'm so excited for today's video. We are using one of the new stamp sets in the new mini occasions catalogue. That is this one here. This one is available to customers in January, now available to demonstrators, and yeah, so excited to be able to open this catalogue with you once this goes live, but I can't yet, so I can just show you the front cover. Let me show you the stamp set that we're using on today's card. It is Blessings of Home, absolutely gorgeous set. It is a bundle, so you can purchase the dies together with the bundle and save yourself 10%. Highly recommend anything with a bundle, you purchase it together, you're making a real savings and you're getting some great extra deals with the deal. All right, that is a gorgeous set and this card is absolutely gorgeous. Let me show it to you. We're using a little bit of old and a little bit of new. So this DSP that we have in the background here is the Expressions of Ink. This is in the annual catalogue. I love it. Haven't used it as much as I want to, but I wanted to team it up with a new product, which is the Blessings of Home stamp set. So isn't this gorgeous? This is going to be so much fun. Let's get over to the craft table and we'll get started. This is the last video for 2021 and I'm so excited to have you here. I'm using a new bundle from the mini catalogue. It is Blessings of Home. It is gorgeous and this is a little bit of a fun fold. So I'm excited to show you this one. I'm also using a little bit of old and new. So I've got the annual catalogue DSP. This is Expressions in Ink. It's really pretty. It's a specialty paper and yeah, it's gorgeous. If you haven't got some, highly recommend grabbing some. And we use 𝒕 as our card base. I've also got Pale Papaya, which is our in colour, a newish in colour from this year. So we have a piece of 𝒕 card, 4 1/8 by 10.5. We're going to score it on the 10.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 3 3/4, and 5. Now don't worry about writing those measurements down. There is a blog post linked to this video where you can get those measurements. We also have a piece of Pale Papaya card. It's 3 by 5 inches and we're scored at 1.5 inch and 1 3/4. Whoops, 1/2 inch and 1 3/4. So we're just going to burnish all those score lines that we have. And this works with any different cardstock and DSP. So hopefully you're sort of thinking about what you have in your stash. So I'm going to grab some tear and tape and we're going to add a little bit of tear and tape to each of the tabs. Now before you put this card together, I have actually cut my DSP to the right measurement and I do have to put that DSP down on the 𝒕 before we put the card together. It sort of sits underneath that bit, so you could actually cut down that DSP a little bit smaller so it reaches the bottom of the card. I just thought it was easier to do it this way. So just gluing down with some liquid adhesive that piece of DSP. Now let me just have a quick look. We have a 4 by 4 inch piece of DSP that I've just put down, and we also have a 4 by 1 7/8 for that front piece. So all I've done is I've taken that backing off, put down that tab so it's folded over, and then pushed the card closed, and that makes sure that it gets in the right position. Alright, so I've popped that front bit of DSP down as well. We're going to create the Pale Papaya cardstock there, and we're going to stamp. So with my sample there, I didn't stamp the top of the Pale Papaya, so it's plain, and I thought this time round I would stamp it just to make it look a little bit more fancy. So we're bringing in the 𝒕 ink. There is 2 big images of flowers. I've used this one here, and we're actually going to stamp this twice. So we're heat embossing with gold, and I'm stamping it twice because I'm going to cut out a couple of the flower bunches to then pop up on my main image. So it just makes it look a little bit more fancier as well. You could leave it just like that, it wouldn't matter. Okay, so using that same stamp, I'm going to do that second stamp, and then we're going to bring the Pale Papaya in and just stamp around the sides of the Pale Papaya from that front piece, and then that top one next to the tab, we're going to stamp all the way across that, so it has a nice little bit of an image there. Our sentiment is a piece of 𝒕 𝑪𝒐𝒅𝒆, and I'm also going to be heat embossing with the gold. There's a few different sentiments there. I'm actually using the Have a Perfect Birthday, because we're now starting to look at birthdays. I think the beginning of the year we always seem to grab a whole heap of birthday projects to try and get us ready for the new year. Okay, so I'm going to bring my heat tool and just melt that powder until it's nice and shiny and bright, and we'll be right to start colouring in. Now, if you're in need of any of the stamping supplies that I've used on today's card, or if you need any other supplies, you can purchase them in my online store if you live in Australia. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to earn your business. I have a wonderful customer program where everyone who purchases from me will get a handmade card each month. It's a different one each month. I also have a bundle tutorial that I give away, and I usually have a little bit of an extra bonus going on each month as well. Okay, so we have all that ready to go. I'm actually using my water painters or aqua painters, whichever you still have. These are the aqua painters, the old ones. And all I've done is I've smooshed my ink pad together to have a little bit of ink in the lid. I've taken the water painter apart from the water because I don't want too much liquid. And I find that if you have liquid in your water painter, it just makes everything very wet. So I've taken that off. I want a little bit of moisture there, but not too much. And I'm just going on there, adding those colours. So I've got pale papaya for the flower, and I'm also going back in, so I'm doing it a little bit light and then coming back in and adding a bit of colour. It gives you like two radiant or two variants of colours. Looks really pretty. So on the big one I've coloured it all in. I'm coming back in with that second piece and I'm just colouring in those flowers and leaves on that section. So these are the ones that we're going to be fussy cutting out and placing with dimensionals over the top. So if you haven't signed up for my emails yet, you can do that over on my blog. I send out almost weekly emails letting you know what specials Stampin' Up are having, what specials I'm having, what classes, what events, and I always send out a PDF tutorial every single month that's free. So it has a card there. So if you're after a little bit of inspiration and to know what's going on, I send those out each week, and yeah, hopefully you'll come over and sign up for those emails. Okay, so I've gone on to the 𝒕 𝑪𝒐𝒅𝒆 colours, just adding that greenery in. I think these two colours work so well together. They're really light and pretty, and I've taken those colours obviously from the designer series paper, which is the Expressions in Ink DSP. So as I just finish off, you could go round and colour in that background instead of leaving it white. I actually liked leaving it white, so completely up to you. And here we are, we're just going to go quickly fussy cut around. You want to be a little bit careful, but that's why I've sped it up, so we're not taking too long cutting these out. But they're actually really tiny in some spots, so it really makes it delicate. So because there's still a little bit of moisture on that, I've just hit it with the heat tool to make sure that it's completely dry before popping these down on top. You could also use the mini dimensionals. They're a little bit smaller than the regular dimensionals and would fit on a little bit better. So we're going to pop those up onto our piece, and then we can actually start putting the card together. So with our sentiment, it is 𝒕 𝑪𝒐𝒅𝒆, and I do have a piece for the backing or the matting that's going to be popped up on the card as well. I think it would look really nice, a green, like a 𝒕 𝑪𝒐𝒅𝒆 matting around our image here, but it's okay. I left it pretty plain. So we're just going to add this down. Because we've heat embossed it and we've also added water to our piece of cardstock here, I am using tearing tape just because it does bubble just slightly. So I always find it's a little bit easier to use tearing tape to make sure that, you know, it stays down very well. There was a little bit of a hangover with the basic white. Alrighty, so we're going to take that back DSP, the backing of the tearing tape. I was just watching to see what I was doing because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Anyway, so we're going to place that down on our front of our cardstock, and then taking the backing off, we're just going to fold it down just as we did with the other one. Fold it down and push down, and that means that it's in place. Easy. And this sits up perfectly. It's a really great card. Now you can write on the back of this card, so it is easy enough to write on the back. You could also add it to a card front as well if you really wanted to have a card as well. Completely up to you. So we're going to add some dimensionals to our sentiment here, and then lastly we're going to come in with some champagne rhinestones. These worked perfectly with these colours, and I love how they turned out. So we're just going to pop in a few champagne rhinestones. So hopefully you've enjoyed this card, and I hope that you've had a wonderful year. I hope you've enjoyed my videos this year, and I really hope that you will come back in 2022 and join me crafting next year as well. And I just want to say thank you so much for everyone, for your support, your friendship, and yeah, your likes, your comments, and all the fun that we've had this year. Have a great New Year's. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you left me a comment. If you haven't hit subscribe, you could do that. And don't forget, all the products that I've used on today's card can be purchased in my online store. I have links to those products in the description of this video, so you can check those out. And if you're after any other supplies that Stampin' Up have, you can purchase them there as well. I have a wonderful customer program where I look after every customer that I have, and I always send out a handmade card as well as a bundle tutorial every month. So I usually have an extra little surprise each month as well. Alright everyone, I'll be back with another video really soon for you. I hope that you'll come back and check that out, and I cannot wait to see you next time. Alright, bye bye.